and welcome to today's presentation where we have the pleasure to present Audientes. To help us through today, we are joined by CEO Sten Thyssen. The focus on today's event, catch up on 22 and the full year report, but the many signals that are in that. And I also saw that there was a little bit of a new indicative targets for the capital needs and outlook for break even. So I think that we will also discuss that today. As always, you can ask questions during the presentation. Do it in the box down below. Do it in English, do it in Danish. In Danish, I will try and translate to the best of my ability. Due to your listing in Sweden, we do this in English also. So, Sten, I think I will hand the call over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Michael, and welcome everyone. Thanks for showing up virtually here on this annual report 22 presentation from Audientes. So today we will be covering, of course, things that we have discussed in the past, and also some new things that has occurred as part of this finalization of the actual annual report and the audit for the last year. So it's a good I think structure. I think that'll take us through everything. So I hope you will follow and of course ask questions at the end. Now, 22 was the year when you can say Audientes really actually came out in the market. We entered mass production early on in the year. We launched the product in India, and we actually started to be present with, you can say, product that had the necessary approvals, and we started actually putting it out in the market. As we unfortunately now know that we sold quite a lot to the different distributors and hearing clinics that we're working with. Unfortunately, we actually did not have a very significant sell-through to the end user. But you can say, nevertheless, we did accomplish a good few things last year, building up the presence in India. We learned a lot, and now you can say we're in a situation where we have been gaining all that experience and are now starting out in a slightly new direction. So unfortunately, disappointing ramp up initially of Ven in India, but that was the version 1.0 of the product. It was actually a quite well-received offering in the channels initially, but we learned that many of the people that find this product interesting, they had really significant hearing loss to a degree that our initial offering did not amplify enough. So what we did, we went back to the drawing table and we started really working on the software side of things, really to improve that kind of gain the product needs to be able to handle in order to address a much more severe hearing loss. Now, we launched that, you can say recently, we rolled it out in the last couple of months in the Indian market. It's now also available for software download on the Apple Store and of course the Google Play Store. The 2.0 upgrade comes with some virtues that also includes improved noise cancellation and you can say much clearer sound and of course improved gain. So that's the product now that we're going to market with in India through our new partnership with Earcard that I will also cover later. And then of course we also announced Companion, our advanced hearable last summer, and we started selling that in the beginning of this year in Scandinavia, in Sweden and in Denmark. So this is kind of where you can say that's part of what we achieved last year and all the things that we have accomplished since then. Now, we also moved from First North stock market in growth market in Copenhagen to the Spotlight stock market Denmark. We did that at a time where you can say Europe was really in turmoil and the market sentiment was kind of going in the wrong direction. Now, we did accomplish additional fundraising at the end of last year. So we did this follow-on capitalization that we had planned. We secured funding. We repaid part of our existing kind of loans, and we also had expectations of additional warrant-based exercise round in late March, early April. Unfortunately, due to various factors, that only yielded net proceeds of around 600,000 Danish kroner, so way below what we had expected. So what we have done in this process, you can say, due to the sort of lower than expected sales and also lower than expected capital rates, we have really reduced our OPEX significantly. We have been able to, you can say, reduce push out activities, but we have unfortunately also had to let some of our very good staff go. So we have reduced it quite significantly. We have maintained most of the staff in India, as this is where we are really focusing on now, selling the product and rolling it out and supporting it. So I think we are now a much leaner organization that are adapted to the situation that we are in currently. Now, the sort of big, you can say, things since I presented the sort of updated Q4 and year-end report was that we have been through the whole auditing process, which has been an extensive exercise, of course, but also that we have been engaging this from the notion of being a going concern, which means that we are continuing operations. We are in the middle of, you can say, executing on a capital plan that we have made with our advisors, and we are taking various steps to secure our financing for the coming 12 months. Unfortunately, we are not at a stage right now where we have got everything signed and executed, and we can sort of put that forward to the auditors. So they have been, you can say, in a position to actually say that they do not see the kind of clear evidence of this, and they have been giving us this so-called adverse opinion to the annual report 22, precisely because we are going in this direction as a going concern, and they think that this is not, you can say, documented sufficiently. So this is essentially our situation, and of course we will accept that position. However, we have, as I said, we have concrete plans and activities going on to sort of prove the opposite. Now, the financial performance for last year, we unfortunately did not realize our sales expectations by far, I would say. So we turned over around below 100,000 Danish kroner, as you can see, 79,000 to be precise. So that is way below what we had expected. We did, however, do a lot of cost control. So our EBITDA ended up being quite close to what we had set out. Of course, we did some other changes to our you can say we did some additional writing off on some development expenditures that has been activated in the past, where we say this software is now obsolete. We are using a version 2 platform software. So we ended up having also a higher profit and loss for the year, kind of loss of 24 million. But of course, that was due to that writing off exercise as well. So I would say overall, we have been managing 22 in a difficult situation, and of course we have been raising capital in that process, and now we ended up the year with around slightly below 7 million in cash. Now, of course, you will also be able to see that our shares issued has increased quite significantly in 22, and that was due to that rights issue we carried out at the end of the year. Now, the different financial highlights for the year, we have been presenting this as part of the Q4 and year-end report, but just to say that revenue recorded below 0.1 million Danish kroner. EBITDA loss slightly, you can say, above the or below the expectations. We had expected around 13 million, but it was unfortunately ended up being a bit worse than that. Otherwise, there's not that much to comment on here beyond what I've already said. I think the big thing that we did in the, you can say, as part of doing our actual auditing process was that we really looked at now the situation with our new partner in India. We have many payments outstanding, and we are contractually obliged to actually stop certain distribution agreements. So we actually decided to take all the products that we had outstanding returned. So we sort of took them back, and therefore you can say we had to take this hit in our books on actually foregoing revenue that had been invoiced, and so we sort of had to roll that back. Now, the plan that we now have going forward, it's based on a very focused strategy with India as the core and center. We have been working out, you can say, a plan with several steps, and we have taken the first step at the end of May, securing another bridge loan from our existing lenders of around 750,000 Danish kroner. The future capitalization that we are working on is including additional funding, of course, but it also will explore different other ways, including, as we write, different partnerships, merger, or so forth, but essentially with the aim to stabilize our business and secure the future execution. So we are not right now putting out any guidance for the financial result for the year. However, we are, of course, indicating in our annual report that we are expecting to turn over around 6 million Danish kroner in sales revenue for the next 12 months. That is, you can find that in the report, and that is partly, of course, due to the collaboration with Earcard in India and the other sales expectations we have. So as part of this plan, we have been really looking really hard at the different expenditures and the cost necessary and so forth. So we have now created a new plan that include a sort of lowered need for funding. So our expectation is that we are going to go out and secure around, you can say, 5 to 6 million in cash for the coming 12 months. We are already, you can say, working on part of that. And we also have this existing bridge loan of around 5.5 million Danish kroner that we are working on refinancing or essentially prolonging. That is a loan that is to be repaid this month, but our expectations, of course, that this will be extended and so forth. So this is, you can say, the key assumptions in our plan for why we are indeed a going concern.
Steen, can I just ask you just to clarify, when you say 12 months, is that from now when you released it, or are we talking 23, or is it the next 12 months, you know, from...
It is the next 12 months. Yeah.
Next 12 months, perfect.
Yeah. So, and then because of the, you can say, the sales aspirations we have a product that has been developed. So we are very lean now as an organization. So we are aiming at coming to a point of being in a break-even situation in the coming 12 months. And I think this is exactly what I've heard a lot from the investor community, that it's really important to get to a point where you have a business that is sort of not necessarily resting in itself, but where it's clear that there's a balance between incoming and outgoing. So this is our key aim, to get to that point as quickly as we can. And as I also mentioned earlier, that we have been in this situation last year, but also this year, where we've been executing on a variety of cost savings. So we are indeed very lean today. Now, what recently I think is one of the sort of focus areas in us, of course, that is this new collaboration we have with Earcard in India. So Earcard is our new exclusive distribution partner. We have been in the process of the last kind of month or so to really transfer into this new operating mode. And of course, it includes a very deep commitment to continue working in India. Penetrating this, you can say, very large country is something that most Danish companies want to do. We have been working on that now for several years. We have learned a lot, and we think we are now much wiser and better able to accomplish that aim we have of helping a lot of people in India who has poor hearing with an affordable solution that they can actually access and start to use very easily. So we are now, you can say, continuing on the things that we have found out that worked really well, and we're stopping doing things that did not work that well initially. But Earcard is our partner, and it's a very interesting, it's a young company as well, but it's a company with really sort of sharp focus on innovating in this sort of hearing health area. They're doing some really innovative things in lead generation and bringing, you can say, customers to dealers and of course also offering products, our products, and they have an own product as well that is more of a classic hearing aid. So they're covering a really interesting area, also price wise. So we are now working really closely with them to essentially take our product, bring it into their portfolio, and roll it out across a range of new and existing channels. And why is India so interesting? And I think we have been talking a lot about that the last couple of years, but it is this country with 1.4 billion people and around 100 million people or so with hearing loss. And in our segment, we think there's around 30 million people that has essentially a hearing loss of the type that we can help, and where you can say demographics, they would also be able to afford or be interested in our solution. So this is the opportunity we are continuing to work in. And what is really important to notice is that 2/3 of the population is still outside the major cities, the sort of mega cities. So there's a lot of people out across the country in smaller tier 2 and tier 3 cities that are not getting the same support from the hearing health kind of sector with audiologists and so on. They are not really present in the smaller cities to the same extent as they are in the large cities. So Earcard has got a plan for rolling out our offering and their own offering in exactly the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. And we are, of course, super interested in that. Has always been part of our focus. And of course, in the tier 1 cities, we are present there today, and we'll be present there going forward also with Earcard. So we have sincere hopes that this is going to be really good for our future rolling out of our products in the Indian market. And just to show kind of a depiction of what we are talking about. So basically, Audientes, as the manufacturer, is now working solely with a company in India on the actual going to market across these different channels. And the end users we are addressing, of course, is not just one type of user. It is really across a number of, we call them personas, but where each of them have got a certain need and a certain reason for why looking in the direction of our offering. So we've been trying to understand that, and we are tailoring our go-to-market in a way that we speak directly to these people. And of course, we're doing that through Earcard, who are, of course, already working in that space. So now we are, you can say, we have someone we work really closely with on that endeavor. And sort of finally, I would just sort of make, you can say, the sort of attention to Ven. Ven is the product we're selling in India. It is this self-fitting hearing aid formed as a neckband device, but that supports hearing loss in both ears. So this is a product we think is a great fit for a variety of people, including those that already has a hearing aid, as the woman here on the picture, but essentially for use as a second device, or for use as the initial device a person gets when it's becoming difficult to hear what goes on the television. The sound has to be turned up really loudly, or as the sort of main hearing aid device that a person has in their life. So there's a significant number of opportunities that we think Ven is a really good offering for. So we will continue to work on that. And specification-wise, with this sort of version 2.0 platform, we maintain a lot of the existing virtues, but we are providing higher amplification, improved noise cancellation, and really also a clearer sound. And of course, works really well with smartphones, and has got various features where professionals can program in a certain setting in the device that you can say in order to help a person get a unique fitting. So we both support self-fitting, and we also support what we call the manual fit by a professional. So just sort of highlighting, you know, again, key reasons for why considering Audientes in an investment portfolio. It is this significant and growing market potential, a need for accessible and affordable hearing solutions, and essentially we help extend existing markets of the traditional industry with innovative solutions. Together with our partner, we are in India, and of course, in the longer term, we expect to be present in other markets around the world with regulated products as well as non-regulated products that can easily be sold in markets like the consumer electronics space and mobile operator stores and so on. So this is essentially what we are aiming at doing in Audientes for our customers and shareholders. So I think this is, you can say, the final slide here. We published the annual report yesterday, and we called also for the annual general meeting to take place on June 28th. So this is the sort of next, you can say, milestone in that regard. We look forward to welcome our shareholders at our offices in Virum, north of Copenhagen. So thank you very much for listening in. And
should we take some questions, Steen?
Absolutely.
The first one, is it expected that Audientes enter new countries over the coming years? You know, I think the question here might, or I interpret that those plans you have laid out with the break even, the cash need, is that solely India, or is there other countries that you enter in those plans you have made there?
Yeah, so it is primarily India, but we are also, of course, as I mentioned, we are present already today in Denmark and Sweden. We also have an e-commerce site that we are sort of revving up, and so, but more countries, of course, can be relevant over time. And as we have talked about in other sessions, that we have a rollout roadmap that we are, of course, paying attention to as well. But for now, it's really deep focus on succeeding in India.
Then there's a question: how is the renegotiation of the loan? Any indication on what terms it might be prolonged on?
Well, we of course are trying to get the optimal terms with our dialogue. So of course it's important to look at interest rates and stuff like that. So we are in the middle of that.
In the middle of that.
Yeah.
I know you can't say more, sorry,
Yeah.
but I had to. Does the plan of break-even include that our Audientes enter into other markets such as US? I think you elaborated a little bit on it. The plan you have laid out to the market, the one you have guided on and so on, I guess the answer is still the same as number one. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Then there's a question. Is there any concrete plans to work together with other Danish or Scandinavian actors in this market area? Partnerships, mergers. Denmark is a kind of a strong base for this area, you know, in the market for hearing aid. I know it's more in the professional segment. So any thoughts you can give us here? And if I might also add, you know, what we sometimes have seen in this industry is that you actually go out and white label, you know, with some big hearing change, you know. Of course, there's some big famous American big deals. I know you're not there yet, but there is a lot of hearing change in Europe and other places that might be interested in white labeling. I know it's not it might lower your margin, but in every circumstance, it could also be interesting just to get some cash flow joining in. So first, any of the Danish Scandinavian actors, and then secondly, are there any thoughts about this, maybe also going out and white labeling with their brand name on your product?
But we are definitely open for white labeling, which means that our product will be sold maybe in a box with a sort of a retail chain's name on and so on. That's absolutely something we are interested in. I can't comment on specific dialogues going on, but it is obvious that for us, in the situation that we're in, we would welcome an opportunity to sell products through an existing brand, maybe a stronger brand than ours, but someone that people would associate with sort of a good solution. So we're interested in that. We are exploring it in various dialogues, but there's, you can say, nothing concrete right now, but it's something that we are definitely open to.
And any of the Danish or Scandinavian actors, I guess you can't comment on.
I cannot comment on that, but I would still say that our aim is really to put this offering out in different channels in the Indian market, and some of these channels are known for pursuing basically products under their own brands, and we are looking into that. So all these things are on the table.
And then there's a question here: how much of the sales forecast for the next 12 months is earcard?
I would say it's you know, it's around, if I count from what we have published earlier, it would be sort of something like 90%.
Yes.
Oh,
and then there's a question here: can you say how the sales together with earcard have been going in the last couple of months? I know you can't give us precise data because you are until your Q2 report, but a little bit soft tone.
We are just rolling it out now. So
it's too early to see.
It is too early. The sales will come in you can say from when the products they hit the market and start going out. So, and then
a little bit clarification, and I know those things can change. You know, the run rate you need in sales per month to get to the break-even number. Can you elaborate a little bit? Is it 1.5 million, 2 million in run rate sales with the current plans and your current staffing? You know, what is kind of the run rate? I guess monthly or yearly sales you are aiming for in this break-even target.
Yeah, but so this is exactly what also is written in our report, that the plan we have devised actually include around the 6 million kind of Danish kroner sold number of units in the next 12 months. That will take us in a really good direction to that. And then you can say, of course, it's not going to be sort of flat sales. It should of course grow month on month. So if we are delivering on that, then we are in a really good situation in terms of the break-even situation. Yeah.
Perfect. That was the last question, Steen. I think we went through it, and thank you for taking us through it. And of course, we will follow up if there's any news flow during the summer on this funding plan. But thanks to everybody for listening in, and thank you to you, Steen.
Thank you very much.